Boy, that was a great kirtan, huh? That's become one of my favorite melodies. If not it's close to my favorite. It's hard to have a favorite though, isn't it? You know, but just as soon as you get seated and thinking, oh, this is my favorite, then you hear another one. You know, oh, that's my, but that's probably for right now, this minute, that's my favorite. It's got everything that we need. It gets us all going, gets the whole room going so nicely, doesn't it? That's what kirtan is supposed to do. So, thank you so much. Yeah, not sure when I'm going to get to go to India, so I know all up in the air. I could still leave on the 10th, but there's a strong possibility that won't happen, so I don't know. Can't. There's no way to get in touch with them. I'm just waiting for them to do whatever it is they're going to do. So, isn't it hellish when you find out that you're not in control? Don't you hate that? You know? But the fact is, we never were we? When were we ever in control? The only thing we get to control is our decisions and our attitude. And boy, sometimes that attitude can be really hard to control. But you got to work at it. Today, we're going to talk about spiritual detox, or as as the hip folks talk, shadow work. We heard of that? We heard of that term? Shadow work. So typically when we analyze the world around us, we realize again and again and again, not like we can just realize it once. Krishna has to remind us again and again and again about this, the frailties of the material energy. You know? Typically, what they tell you to do in the material world could work. It might have some help, but typically they're telling you to look in the wrong direction. They don't know of the direction that you should look. So basically, shadow work. Now, everybody here, have you heard of it? Does everybody know what that refers to? Huh?
Carl Jung, right?
Carl Jung, yeah. Yeah, our dark side. Work on our dark side. So, that whole thing is just plain silly. What they're telling you to do is just silly. Now, let me caveat that. If there were no God, if it was just you and me, all of us together in just this material world, and birth, death, disease, old age, and nothing you can do about it, you only go around once, so grab all the gusto you can. There used to be a beer commercial back in the early 60s in Chicago. Probably everywhere, but I don't remember the beer, but that was that was what they would say on their commercials. You only go around once in life, so grab they pronounced it gusto, but it's actually gusto, isn't it? Mucho gusto. So grab all the gusto you can. And they would show a hand, a picture on a table. The beer can was there, and the hand would pick it up, and you'd hear glug, 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 glug. And then he would set the beer can down, and it's been bent. The guy slammed the beer down, and he bent the can. Because you only go around once, so drink all the beer you can. So, if there were no God, there's no spiritual world, there's nothing beyond this life, that makes sense, doesn't it? I only have a predetermined amount of time. And so, and after that, the lights go out. I'm just gone. So I might as well enjoy all I can before it's lights out. So this is kind of the theme of the material world, isn't it? Better grab all you can. So, all right, I'll run through this. You guys already know. Shadow work is a type of psychotherapy that focuses on the shadow self, your dark side, which is the parts of the psyche that people often keep hidden, such as trauma and resentment, things that happen to us. I guess another word for it would be excess baggage that you're carrying. You got all the things that you don't want to talk about. You kind of push them aside. The meaning of shadow work is ultimately your inner work or self actualization to become everything that one is capable of becoming. Be all you can be. Does anybody know who made that? What commercial made that famous? Be all you can be in the army. The army is going to help you to be all you can. They have no shame, do they? Join the army and be everything you possibly can be. All right, maybe it's true. I don't know. Huh? Not true. We have living proof here. They didn't help you. You became all you can be when you started to chant Hare Krishna, didn't you? Army or no army. Shadow work means turning away from the conscious mind and looking to the other side, the darker side of the psyche. The act of bringing the shadow to light to uncover parts of yourself that are repressed or pushed back in your subconscious mind. All those things that you've got hidden that you don't want to talk about, Carl Jung says, bring them out. Let's air it out. Let's pass it around. Let's deal with that. So, does that make any sense? We got a professional in the room. Does that really make any sense? Yeah, I wanted to get you caught in the crossfire here. All right. So, instead of there not being an afterlife, there is no spiritual world. What if you, instead of that, what if there is? What if you don't just go around once? What if there is a side of you that's eternal and doesn't die with the body? In other words, what if you're not your body? You ever think about that? What if we're not these bodies? I've thought about it. I keep on thinking about it because my body keeps wanting me to pay attention to it. You know, I'm not feeling good. You better pay some attention to me. But you're not me. So, what if we have this philosophy that there's a we that we don't even know about beyond our mind, beyond our subconscious? What if? What if? So they don't believe that. They cannot preach that. So they have to talk to you and try to teach you, try to help you based on you being your body and your mind and your subconscious mind. So let's focus on the ugly things that you keep covered up in your psychic or a subconscious mind. So, all right, maybe in the material world, that's good advice. Maybe it kind of works for some people. Does it? I didn't. I missed that one. Yeah, he got, yeah, yeah. And what are we trying to do anyway? I've got this dark shadow in my mind, and I know that there's a part of me that I don't like. Well, hey, welcome to the material world. That's the nature of this world. It's like if you go to, if you're put in jail and you complain because I'm surrounded by criminals. Well, you are one. That's why they let you in. So in this material world, this is like a prison house and it's full of criminals. We're one of them. What is our crime? Huh? Envy. We became envious of the most beautiful, most loving source of beauty, source of love. We became envious. So envious that we decided, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. So you're a criminal. This is the word, this is the definition of that word that I've heard a lot, an infidel. Where's the fidelity? Krishna was all for eternity. Krishna was giving, giving, giving everything. Why? He's the source of everything. He's your source. He's given you all the love that you've ever had, even if it comes from another person, originated from that supreme source. It came through, but it started from him. And so we became envious and we decided, I'm going to go someplace and try to compete with you. So we're criminals. So we come here and then we don't want to follow the rules. It's like Arizona is one of those places historically that before it became a state, it attracted outlaws, right? Why? Outlaw. I want to get outside of the law. I want to go someplace where there's no law or fewer laws because I don't like to follow any rules and regulations. So kind of like Arizona, I'm not, you know more about the history, I guess. Arizona, New Mexico was a place where outlaws would go and hang out because there were fewer rules. I could be more in control here. There's less law. So there's less lawmen. So this was a good place for people who, there's less authority here. It's a good place for a criminal mind to flourish. Just like the material world is for the living entity. Less law. What are the rules? Of course, wherever you go, there's plenty of rules. Like if you want to go to India, they have rules. And sometimes, for no reason at all, they decide to. Anyway, let's not go there. So, what we're talking about is typically when we're dealing with spiritual solutions, and there's only spiritual solutions. There aren't really any material solutions. We have, even if we have a material problem, most of the time, the only real solution is going to be something spiritual. Now, I'm not talking about if your car batteries run down. You're going to you need a material solution. You need a jumper cable. So, but if you're having some, mental distress, then you're going to need some sort of a spiritual solution. So let's go the other way. Instead of working on the shadows, why don't we work on the positive side of us, the living entity? Why don't we treat ourselves as if we are eternal? We're not the body, we are spirit soul. And so maybe we can get past all of these shadows that we have behind us and get into happiness, things that can wash away those shadows. What if the shadows can go away? So Bhagavad Gita tells us exactly how to do that, how to accomplish that. Instead of working in the shadows, let's work in the light. If you think that, well, I'm such a low down person, I've got all these things behind me and it's been difficult, and we all do, we've all made a lot of mistakes. So, what if we work on that eternal side of us, the real us, and follow the instructions in Bhagavad Gita and become self realized to the point that the shadows are just gone. Shadows they disappear when there's enough light. They disappear, you see, rather than focus on them. Let's go look at them all. Let's go over there and check that shadow out. What is that supposed to accomplish? Maybe that'll make you feel better. Maybe it works. But what works better than that is to become self-realized. So because of my consciousness at a particular time, I might have made some poor decisions. We've all done that. We all do it. We make poor decisions from time to time. So if my consciousness or lack of proper consciousness is what helped me to make impure decisions or improper decisions in the past, why don't I change my consciousness? Why don't I get my consciousness fixed? And then let everyone talk about the material side of it and argue what is better for you. How will this work? And give it names like shadow work. Give it another 10 years, they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to call it something else. It'll be the same thing. See? For some, it'll work, but it's like putting like a Band-Aid on cancer. Because what does it actually accomplish? You're just going to overlook the poor consciousness that you had when you made the wrong mistakes again and again. Right? So, but now I'm a good boy and I won't do that anymore. Is this making any sense? So why don't we go the other way? Why don't we discover who we really are and not try to fix someone that we're not? We're not this body. And if you do have these shadows that you carry with you, who's to say you didn't bring them with you when you checked into this body? More than likely, you've got that baggage and you're carrying it from birth to birth. So maybe I shouldn't say it like that. Maybe it does do some good, but wouldn't it work better if I get my pure consciousness back? And then that will keep me from making stupid decisions. I can heal my consciousness. So let's see what Krishna says. Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter. Don't you love the 6th chapter? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Text 24. There's like 4 texts that I'm going to read, and stop me at any time you want to discuss. Text 24, the 6th chapter, Krishna says, one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon, without exception, all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Well, the mind is what's given us a hard time. So we've got to purify that mind. There must be a process. Because the mind is the reason that I made impure decisions, because I had an impure mind. So now Krishna's saying, let's purify that mind and then let it protect you. does he say this? One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. So the very thing that trips you up, you can actually use this mind to keep you from making mistakes. But you have to train it. You have to train it. Like I remember thinking the other day, something reminded me of this, but I don't remember what it was. But I remember in 1976, we were in New York for the first ever New York Rath Yatra. And it took until 1976 to get a Rath Yatra in New York. We'd had San Francisco and LA, but finally, here it is. Prabhupada was so happy. New York Rath Yatra. And so every morning Prabhupada would go on his walk, and I think his quarters were on the top part of the temple. Our temple was on Manhattan, on 55th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue, not far from Broadway. And not a bad part. It's New York, not a bad part of town. And so Prabhupada would notice, and there was a guy that lived in an apartment building across the street. And Prabhupada was very regular. He did the same thing at the same time every day. So Prabhupada said to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, this man over here across the street, every day at the same time, he walks his dog. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, yes, Prabhupada, he has that dog trained very well. And Prabhupada stopped and he looked him in the eye and he grinned and he said, who has who trained? It probably doesn't work that way. Like the guys say, okay, come on, let's go for your walk. No, probably the dog is like, I gotta go, or else it's gonna be a mess. So yeah, okay, hold on, let me grab your leash. In the 70s, they hadn't come to the realization yet that you should clean up after your dog on the streets of New York. So it wasn't uncommon when you go walking down the streets of New York, even in Times Square, to see piles of some kind of manure, kind of poop. It was very common. And as time went by, I guess they still do it. I don't know. You're supposed to do it here. Do people do it? Do they actually clean up after their dog? They're probably pretty good at it. Really? Ah. In those days, we hadn't progressed that far. So I remember if you go on Harinam, you had to sometimes do a little zigzagging. There was more than one or two little piles here and there. So the point is, it looks like the man has the dog trained. Prabhupada pointed out, no, the dog has the man trained. So our minds have us trained. We think, I am my mind. My mind is just looking out for me. My mind is telling me, let's go do this and let's go do that. And that's because my mind is my best friend. He's telling me, let's go. This is going to be some fun. This will be beneficial for you. See? But yet Krishna is saying here, you could use your mind to protect you, but you have to train it. So how do we train the mind? Discipline. Yeah. Prabhupada pointed out one time the root word of disciple is discipline. Without discipline, there is no question of disciple. So, Prabhupada says in the purport, the yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue the course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there's any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, one can execute the process of Bhakti Yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees and by engaging completely in activities of goodness. So we train the mind by associating with each other. You may not be perfect in controlling your mind, but you've made some progress. I may not be perfect in controlling my mind, but I'm making some progress. Put us together, I can use your progress, and you can use mine. Fill the room up with people who are trying to make spiritual progress. The potency that we have all developed will help pull us along. And therefore, it's been said again and again and again, associate with devotees. Associate. Get out. Associate with people who are trying to achieve the same goal as you, and we'll share our strengths. So Rupa Goswami is telling us that. So in the next verse, Krishna says, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by all convictions. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. What's Krishna saying here? Is this some sort of New Age double talk? You know, sometimes the New Age folks, all glories to them. But I mean, they say things that don't make any sense, you know. Be in the now moment. I think actually Buddha said that. Is that true? Or I don't think he did, but I think they think he did. Anyway, what does that actually mean? Well, of course. Yeah. Got all these real hip guy, probably Sadhguru, you know, if he says it. So what does that mean? How do you even do that? You know? Because we just think, here we are in the passing of time. Time passes. So I want to be in the now moment. So there it is. Here it comes. Now moment's coming. Now I'm going to grab it and I'm going to be in it. Well, I grab it, but wait a minute. Now that moment just went into the past. How can I do that? They tell you to do that. And that sounds really cool. So does that mean I focus on only what I'm doing right this very minute? How would that work? So I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I have no plans. I'm just going to think of right now, right this very minute. Is that a good suggestion?
So sometimes my mind starts thinking, should I do this or should I do that, or I don't know. Also,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there's just like
More than once, I don't know how many times, but Srila Prabhupada pointed out that he has hundreds of temples, thousands of followers. Even when he was living on the street in New York, they're there. We're only separated by time. You know, should somebody have told Prabhupada, why don't you get into the now moment? I mean, help me with this. I can't understand some of this stuff. All I know is what it says in the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. You have to plan for tomorrow, and you have to. Now, there is a way, hang on to that question. there is a way that you get into the now moment, because in the spiritual world, everything is the now moment. Become a pure devotee, and you're not limited by time. You become a pure devotee of Krishna. In the spiritual world, everything that can possibly happen is happening. You see? So that's difficult for our minds to wrap around, because we're trapped here in the passing of time. And some people are telling me to get into the now moment, which makes it even worse, because who the heck could even do that? And then they have, usually when you question them, they have some flimsy explanation of more double talk. So if you want to get into the now moment, become a devotee of Krishna, because this service to Krishna is an eternal relationship. That gives you your now moment. You regain your lost relationship with Krishna, which is unchangeable and eternal. That puts you into the now moment. When you're with Krishna, there's nothing but now. There's everything's there because you're with Krishna. Does that make any sense? So, you had a question?
This poem by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, last verses he says that one should act on the times that are now. He says that over the future. Wondering how we
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we're engaged in devotional service, it doesn't matter where we do it. Shouldn't matter. We may want to do our service in India, but we might have to do it here or somewhere else. That's okay. You see, when it's not, but it is. Sometimes we have to surrender to Krishna and say, my dear Lord, whatever you want is what I want. So, but we do. Prabhupada looked ahead. He could tell. But you can see with Prabhupada, he was in the future, and he's here now too. Now I have thousands of followers, hundreds of temples all over the world. And he was just living on the street in New York. He had nothing. But yet, he said, yeah, it is there. Just simply we're separated by time. So, we have to have conviction. We've got to know that this is what I want. And we have to be sincere about what it is we want. So, and that's kind of our problem. I know where I've come from. I know I've got shadows. Boy, I'm telling you, when I think of the shadows that are back there in my past, I don't want to go deal with those. I mean, is that okay? You're the doctor here. Come on. I don't want to deal with that stuff. I don't want to relive that. I would rather develop the real me by the person who performed all that activity in the past. I don't even know who this was. I'm trying to figure out, how did I make those decisions before I became a devotee? How did I do that? What motivated me to do that? Oh, I was convinced I was my body. And I was just trying to enjoy. I was trying to grab all the gusto I could. Because everybody knows you only go around once. So I was listening to the dark side. Not just my dark side. I was listening to your dark side too. Everybody that I met had dark sides. Oh boy, did they ever have. And so they kind of affected me, you see. So now, everybody that I meet, they have, maybe if there's some dark side, it's getting so small, it's getting so far away in the past. Now you have a bright side. Why? You're a devotee of Krishna, and you know it. You're an eternal, loving servant of Krishna, and you know it. See? You're not going to tell me, hey, look, just grab the now moment, have some intoxication, get some eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, get that going for you. Work through, go look in the shadows, realize what a jerk you were, and then more intoxication and more money. You make money, fame, huh? And then you'll be good. I used to listen to that, so I don't listen to that. Now I associate with different folks, and they're all telling me something different. That they're in the light, and they're out of the shadows. We all have some shadows, but do we need to work on them? I'm saying that it all goes away. According to Krishna, and Rupa Goswami, if you just focus with determination that I will be a servant of Guru and Krishna, then the shadows, if they're still there, it doesn't matter. It's all gone. It's not you. That's the old you. That's you letting your mind convince you that it is you. And now, in today's world with you, it's you telling your mind that you're not me. We do that. You tell your mind, you're not me. So leave me alone. Mind is always saying, well, what if we do that? There for a while, several months ago, I had to start really focusing. I had to deal with diabetes. But my mind is still saying, but come on, a few sweets won't hurt. This is a special occasion. Slam down some sweets. If you're going to eat one, you might as well eat 20. If you're going to have one piece of cheesecake, why not go for 2? Come on. And it will be good tomorrow. And then you have to take your mind and slap it around a little bit. Say, no. And then after a while, the mind starts working for you. Now it's retrained. It's like the mind will actually do that. You see something that's not good for you, and the mind is saying, you. And the mind used to be the one saying, hey, grab that. Yeah, we're supposed to stay off of sugar, but let's cheat today. Let's just cheat today. We'll go back tomorrow. Now because the mind's working with the tongue, and the tongue is saying, yeah, convince him to eat some sweets. They're corroborating, is that the word? Yeah. So now I'm telling them, hey, look, no, guys, you're going to have to wake up and realize that I'm the soul. I'm in charge here. And so now it's like the reaction to something sweet is like, you? No, I can't do that, because tomorrow when I take my glucose, you know what I'm talking about, my blood sugar, tomorrow it's going to be going, And I guess I could convince myself that I don't care, but I do. So I don't want that. I don't want that reaction. So I say, no, I don't want to do it. I just don't want it. So does that make any sense? Now the mind's working for me. When I'm scanning my, like on MSN or Yahoo page, the home page, there's all these little news things. So now even my computer is trained. What do they call these algorithms? Yeah. Because of what I click on now, my computer's showing me sugar substitutes, diabetes things. So even my darn computer's trained. It's working for me. Why, it never shows me anything like it used to, like some sweet preparation or anything. I get all these recipes, sugar-free recipes and what. So my computer's changed. It's trained. And so my mind is trained up a little bit too. And it can work with me and for me, you see. So, so the dark shadow parts of me used to being a pig on sweets, that's all gone. I'd have to train myself. I don't think I'm going to have the slightest problem when I go to India. The world of sweets, because I'm not attracted anymore. I see it as like negative. I can't do that. Yeah. Manifestations, meaning that if I focus on it, I'll get it. I believe that 100%. It works. I've seen it work in my life. And the reason why I have shadows that I need to deal with probably is because I focused on that was my manifestation. It wasn't like those things were just dropped on me. No, I made decisions. I was influenced by people and circumstances around me. I made improper decisions. And that's how I got those manifestations. So now, today, I'm getting manifestations based on something else that I have focused on. My spiritual life is developing. It's manifesting because I've changed my focus. Krishna fulfills all desires. It may not happen just like that, but it will happen. He will. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you ask Krishna for something and you're thinking, somewhere down the road, Krishna, I want this. And Krishna says, okay, you got to have it right now. I didn't want it now. So, I fully believe in this concept. So what we have to do is to purify our desires. So what does that mean? What do I want? So in the beginning, it may manifest in, I want to go back to Godhead. I want to go to the spiritual world. Somebody may say, why? Why do you want to go there? My gosh, have you not read about this place? It's just so fantastic. The weather is good. Reservoirs of water that tastes like nectar. And the people are beautiful. The trees will give you whatever you want. You can go to the Kalpavriksha tree. Whatever you desire, they'll hand it to you right then and there. I want to go there. I want this liberation because that's good for me. More gusto. So in the beginning, we're looking out for our own enjoyment. We're attracted to this Krishna and his world, his abode. That's I want to enjoy Krishna's world. I came here to enjoy his material energy. Now I want to go enjoy his spiritual energy. But that's a temporary phase. It's okay. It's okay to feel that way. Because if you chant Hare Krishna enough, and if you associate with people who are trying to chant Hare Krishna and to serve Guru and Krishna, then this Bhakti Yoga consciousness will start to occupy your mind. And we start to want to do things based on what Krishna wants. Why did Prabhupada see all these temples in the future? Because this was his manifestation that he wants to manifest as an offering to his guru. That's all. That's it. He just wanted to please his spiritual master. He's living on the streets, He's got nothing. No followers, no money, not even a place to get in out of the cold. But yet he's seeing in the future we're going to have. Is it so that he could go have some temple and he can go there and stay? Is that what he's thinking? Is he looking out? So he's trying to make sure that he has 3 hots and a cot in a nice building someplace? No. No, I remember when Jivananda Swami invited him to come and visit Palace of Gold in New Vrindavan in West Virginia. Finally, he got it pretty much finished. And has anybody here seen Prabhupada's Palace of Gold in West Virginia? All right, we got to fix that. You guys need to go see. It is. It's Palace of Gold. It's just absolutely breathtaking. And so Prabhupada went there. He was invited, walked through, and he was amazed at all the beautiful artwork and everything. He stayed a few days and left. He could have said, this is great. I'm going to stay right here. Could have easily done that. A lot of people would have said maybe, you should have done that. But he was a few days. Oh, this is very nice. Off he went to somewhere else. That wasn't a palace. See? So Prabhupada was fixed on his mission. Driven by his mission. What is his mission? The mission that was handed to him by his spiritual master. He didn't come here for a palace of gold. He didn't care what he got when he got here. He just wanted to carry out the mission of his spiritual master and to please Lord Chaitanya. So, yeah.
Last question. We think they're the doers of activities that are actually performed by the modes. So it's not a manifestation, we think we're manifesting those modes and our desires, but if we don't have the karma for that, we want a new car, but we don't have the karma.
Yeah. If you don't have the karma, you don't have the karma.
And think about it, it won't come.
Well, then there's hankering. I'm hankering for a new car. Then I'm not getting it. Now there's lamenting. Well, I'm lamenting because I can't get a new car.
So someone just, new age people, they're thinking like, whatever I think about it, I'm going to manifest. Based because most of them don't have the karma for it. Although some do and they think they're manifesting. But they have the karma. It's their karma to get a new car. It's their karma to get a new wife or a nice house or $1 million. And they think, yes, I'm making $1 million. I have a new house. Krishna says they're an illusion because they're thinking they're the doer, but actually it's just the karma playing out. Spiritual person.
What if they have the karma for a new car? But not yet. So the time is not here for the new car. Oh, there's a new car out there someplace, but I want it today. So now I'm upset. I'm lamenting.
Different as you're trying to do something for Krishna.
Different lamenting. Yeah. We've talked about this before. It's not like you fall in love and then all of a sudden you just feel wonderful and warm and fuzzy the rest of your life. No, love has some complications. What if I want to please you? If I'm in love with you, I'm never going to feel that my efforts to please you, even though you may be totally satisfied, I'm never going to think that they're good enough. That's what love's done. Anxiety, hankering. I'm hankering to please my beloved. Lamenting because I never can live up to my standard of pleasing the one I love. I'd rather have that to deal with than hankering for a new car and lamenting because I can't get one. See? So it's not like, well, gee whiz, we have love and everything's going to be sweet. No, there's going to be, you love Krishna and Krishna may not always be present before you. So there's service and separation. Prabhupada says again and again, although it's difficult for us to understand, but service and separation is sweeter to have personal association. Hard for me to understand that. fully. I can kind of understand it. But Prabhupada said it so many times that I believe it to be fact. So, Vani and Babu. Sorry.
So my question is, if the self is the soul, and then if the self is the soul, it seems like the soul is unchanging. So then if the soul is unchanging, then like the concept of like self-improvement seems like it doesn't make sense, because like improvement means like it's like change, like yourself is changing, but yourself is the soul and the soul is unchanging. So I'm kind of confused about that. And then I'm also confused about the notion of like spiritual growth, because like spiritual growth also implies like something similar. So it's like I wondered like what's the difference between the soul and like spirit? And how does spiritual growth even make sense when the soul is unchanging?
In the spiritual world, good question. In the spiritual world, everything is increasing. It's unchangeable, but it's ever increasing. Our love for Krishna is always increasing. And not, this is hard for us to understand, not by like 1% increase or 10%. It's that the increases of our love for Krishna are gigantic, constantly for eternity. We can't even imagine where this relationship between us and Krishna is going. We're thinking, how much better can you ever think like that? How much better could it be? I'm a devotee. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I don't see how it could get any better. Only to turn around and I did a lot better. So this is going to continue to happen. In the material world, we always have to. You have to. We have to keep up with the times. We have to learn. I mean, it's just like some of the things that I have to do just logging into your bank is like way difficult now. I remember when it was really easy. You do a couple of clicks and bam, you're in there. You want to do some real quick thing or check one thing. Well, you got to put in your ID, your password. Then it wants to send you a text. Now here you are waiting for the text. And then something happens to distract you. Well, the text came when you were talking to somebody or doing something else. Oh, I've got 3 seconds before it times out. So this happened. Try it again, So it's just always changing. It's hard to keep up with what's going on in this world. See? In the spiritual world, it's the same, but ever increasing, getting more and more wonderful. And it's just pulling you. Here, we're fighting against passing of time. In the spiritual world, there is no resistance of time. See?
So it's kind of like our soul is always the same, but then it's like our relationship with Krishna is the thing that changes. So then that's like
it's
where
ever
the growth-
increasing. It's unchangeable, but yet it's ever increasing. So you could say, well, but that is a change, but it's not. It's just getting better. In the material world, it's always changing. Not always for the good, not always for the bad, but it's pretty darned uncertain. Whether is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? In the spiritual world, you never have to worry about anything being bad. Now, I'm not saying once you go back to Godhead, you can live in the spiritual world and walk on this earth, become a pure devotee, and you're immune to all this. The more the material world kicks you, the more you just want Krishna. You see how it starts working for you? Without Krishna consciousness, the more the material world kicks you, the more gusto I need. And so the material energy is going to say, well, you can try this, or hey, there's a new there's all these new things that come out that people get high on. That, there's always, intoxication is something that drives the world. Like, I remember reading one time that in George Washington's White House, when he was president, um, they had their own people, and about the only liquor that was available in those days was Applejack, like hard cider. Later on, they started doing grains and things like that, and rum, from sugar and things. But for a long time, and the White House consumed 200 gallons of Applejack per year. One of the big problems in the Civil War was everybody was drunk. When they're out there sleeping on the ground, and as soon as you got a chance to gather around the campfire, somebody would break out something, and it was just like, that's the escape from the suffering, the offset. Suffering, give me some gusto. I need to enjoy. You're controlled like that. Then you become a devotee of Krishna. Now you're getting your gusto, your enjoyment from other places. You see? And it's places that don't destroy your body. You see? Unless you're just getting your gusto from Maha Sweets. They may destroy your body, but what a way to go, huh?
I had another question that I've been thinking about. Like, does the material world actually exist? Because, like, if we're all by definition like a servant of Krishna, and then anything used in the service of Krishna makes it spiritual, and whether we realize it or not, like, we're all working for Krishna. So then, isn't everything by definition spiritual?
It exists, and yet it's illusory because it's temporary. It's like if you win the lottery. I hope you do, by the way. But if you won the lottery and they bring you a check for $100 million, and then they show up a few days later and they say, okay, give it back. Yeah, but I won. Yeah, but it's temporary. You don't get to keep it. So you don't get to keep anything in the material world. We can see, I've read articles that they say that a large percentage of people who win the lottery end up broke within a few years. You can't keep it. So in the spiritual world, not only do you get to keep everything, but it keeps increasing big time. So we've got to get to the point where we want to be with Krishna as his loving servant without any personal interest, just looking out for the interest of Guru and Krishna, like Prabhupada, like the example set by the previous acharyas. And that's called self-realization. That's the nature of the living entity. Do for others. But for you to get in that frame of mind, you've got to have some self-realization. You've got to realize the self. Who and what am I? Once you realize, gee whiz, I may not have any money in my bank account, but I feel rich. I feel wealthy. Because Krishna's writing the story. If he wants me to do something, he sends the resources. Somehow or other, he sends the resources. So I have anything and everything, except the visa to India. But other than that, but I'm sure he has his reasons. And I'm just going to wait. Someone had asked me the other day, have you prayed to Sham Govinda? I said, no, I don't do that. Say, look, you do it your way, and I follow what you want. Not like you do it my way because this is what I want. No, I can't. I can't. I've got my mind trained for the most part to just say, no, okay, Krishna, this is not what I wanted, but let's see what it is you want, because I'm sure that's what I want to. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Look like you're at the end of your. Did you want to finish?
No, go ahead.
Let's see. I hesitate to ask this, but just I understand where you're coming from. As far as something like therapy goes, and by the way, I'd love to have you. You're great. But I'm wondering, like, if it could be to the practice. Say, like, if we have someone who's been practicing for a while and they still have a bad attitude, they generally following the practice, but maybe the therapy could help as a support practicing.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. It's like, I have some health issues. And so I talk to healthcare professionals. Where's Indupati? He was here. I get the advice of healthcare professionals. I go down to Mexico and I talk to heart specialists. So they're helping me. So why not? Why can't I use a mental health professional to help me with this? But the main thing that I have to do is to work on my self-realization. That's the best medicine. Of course, I may need the help of a healthcare professional, either physical or mental healthcare professional. I may need that to kind of give me a little push to get. But the only thing that's going to fix me is self-realization. I am part and parcel of Krishna. We just have to remember that. And that changes the way we deal with the material energy. And it also changes the way that the material energy deals with you. I mean, why would Maya want to try to tackle you if you're convinced you're part and parcel of Krishna? So use whatever tool is available, whatever works. Whether it's homeopathic or Ayurvedic or what's the other ones? Huh? Allopathic. I mean, use whatever you can. But basically, you need to become self-realized. You need to become self-realized more than you need to be physically healthy. Although you need physical health to help you live a life of service to Guru and Krishna. But if you get really, really healthy but don't have any consciousness, then you're still caught on the merry-go-round, the karma go-round. We want off of that. We want to let that go. Yeah. For a devotee of the gym. I remember years ago, I guess it was in the early 80s, it seemed like the whole world became devotees of the gym. People were coming to the Dallas temple and they were come to we have a new gym. This was all new in those days. Before that, the only people that went to gyms were boxers and a few weightlifters. But then all of a sudden, the herd bought into it. So everybody's going to the gym, although most of the people who have memberships to health clubs don't go. But many people became so fascinated with their bodies. So my friend Maturanoff and I were invited to go to this swanky place over in, I think it was Arlington, between Fort Worth and Dallas. So they were they liked us because we're devotees, so they're going to give us free membership. Just come on. So we thought, let's go and work out. And so we saw the pretentiousness that was going around. Everybody so much into their bodies that, yeah, we want to work out. We want to do something, for our health, but I cannot stand this environment. So we had a spare office in our office building. We had a business and so we run across one of these places that was going out of business, and we bought our own equipment, our own machines, and free weights and stuff. So instead of driving over and being part of the hip crew, we just go in the office next door, and after we work, we lift weights and do everything and do what we needed to. Does that make any sense? We knew we could see the value in keeping the body fit, but we didn't want to become devotees of the health club, devotees of the physical development. We wanted to stay healthy. We spent a lot more time on our spiritual life than we did on our weightlifting and all the other stuff. Yeah. All right, it's getting we're running out of time, huh?
Questions?
Throw a fact. Let's have a fact.
George Washington, it's a historical fact that George Washington grew marijuana at the White House. He did, he smoked it all.